All right, so this is exactly what we've been waiting for. More trade rumors and more talk as to which teams could be getting in on these big moves. Elliotte Friedman's recent 32 Thoughts article from 2 days ago gave a really interesting thought at the mindset that some of these NHL teams seem to have at the moment. And we're going to be leaving a link in the description to Friedge's latest. Of course, it's going to be on sportsnet.ca. Flames in danger zone as season begins to slip away. Yeah, unfortunately for the Calgary squad, they're not really doing all too well. But if you scroll down into the, the 8th thought on this article, you will see pretty much the general trade update section of the piece here. Of course, it's 31 thoughts. There are a bunch of thoughts, but this one primarily focuses on the biggest parts of trade talk. It's early, so I don't know how much massive movement is expected, but there are some situations to watch. San Jose is interested in moving a defenseman. The Vincent D'Iorio waiver claim gives them 9. No one in particular, but they will listen to ideas. The Edmonton Oilers also have a lot of blue liners, including some they like at AHL Bakersfield. That's another team that could move one at some point. Detroit has Erik Gustafsson in the AHL, and some forwards who might need a change of scenery because their runway is shortening in Motown. So that's a pretty wide range that we could go out there and talk about. We can spend about 3 minutes per team if you wanted to do that. But essentially, thinking about what the San Jose Sharks have cooking in their system, Vincent D'Iorio was a waiver claim that they made a few days ago from the Washington Capitals. And now that he is on this team, well, the Sharks, they have a lot of guys that they can use in their lineup on a day-to-day basis. By the way, big shout out over to Dmitry Orlov. That guy's been having a really good season for the San Jose Sharks. I mean, he's a top pairing guy, so pretty good for him and his career development, I guess. But another defenseman in means that there is room for another defenseman to get out, and San Jose could be in the cusp of doing just that. Meanwhile, for the Edmonton Oilers, you have yourselves Jake Wallman, who had just returned off of the IR. He scored the overtime winner a few nights ago against the Ottawa Senators, and his situation also puts the Oilers in a pretty interesting spot. Could they be on the cusp of moving a defenseman too? Friedman mentioned they have a lot of guys in AHL Bakersfield that they like, so players in the system, does that necessarily mean that they want to bring the AHL guys up and try them out in the NHL? I mean, you look at whom it is the Oilers have on their blue line at the moment. You've got Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Wallman, Kulak, and Ty Emberson. So not all too different from what you had last year when the team ended up going to the Stanley Cup Finals again. Ty Emberson, I guess you can say, is the vulnerable name out of the 6, I guess, if you wanted to say that. But Bakersfield does have some pretty interesting names on D. I mean, I'm not going out there and saying that any of these necessarily are NHL caliber defensemen. I mean, Riley Stillman is over there too. I guess Josh Brown does have some experience at the NHL level as well. But if you want to go younger, I mean, Bo Akey is there too. Pretty productive OHL defenseman of years past. So there is a little bit of an intrigue, I'd say, that Edmonton might have with their younger guys. But Friedman is saying they could be on the move in terms of a D-man here. Now, for the Detroit Red Wings, this is where we start talking about Erik Gustafsson, who is in the AHL and who probably is an NHL defenseman. Right? Is he an NHL defenseman? I mean, yeah, he's a power play guy. You can put him in a spot and he'll get points. Everybody loves to point out the 60-point season that Erik Gustafsson had with Chicago a few years ago. But right now in the American Hockey League, he's got 2 points in 3 games. So, I mean, yeah, he's got points, but you would kind of expect a guy who is supposed to be an NHL player to produce a little more than that, but it's a 3-game sample size. We're not going to get too judgmental on Erik Gustafsson in the AHL at this point. Ultimately, though, Gustafsson is a guy that probably does deserve a chance to be an NHL player. It's just in Detroit, the fact that he got beaten out by 3 young guys in Albert Johansson, Simon Edvinsson, Axel Sandin Pellikka, and even you could say Bernard Docker is in there too. It's like, yeah, Gustafsson, you weren't really providing anything more than what some of these guys are able to provide as well. Essentially, the power play contributions, which made him an NHL piece to begin with, were replaced up and away by Axel Sandin Pellikka. So, yeah, it's not really like the Red Wings needed Gustafsson anymore. If you wanted to keep him around, it would just be as a favor because he's an NHL guy. But if there is another NHL team that could want to work things out a little bit more, then maybe there's a chance that this guy could get traded. And at this point, it's like, yeah, you can say that he was on waivers. Every NHL team had a chance to get him for free. But as we've already discussed, it's 10% of the way through the season. It's been a few games, it's been a few weeks. Teams can change a lot in this span of time. Who knows? There's probably at least a team or two that's a little disappointed with the way that their power play is working out or with the personnel that they have on their squad. And because Erik Gustafsson already passed through waivers unscathed, there's a lot of opportunity for teams to think of him as a little bit more valuable. It's kind of weird, it's kind of backwards, but it does happen where players become more valuable as trade assets if they pass through waivers and they clear, because if NHL teams want to try them out at the NHL level and they don't work, then you can send them down through waivers and you don't lose them for nothing, right? I mean, Steve Yzerman traded away Jake Wallman for nothing with a draft pick. So what's stopping him from going out there and doing the same with Erik Gustafsson? Wallman, of course, so interesting because that guy is quite valuable, I'd say, as an NHL defenseman. But yeah, it's possible. It can happen, right? Future considerations come back over to Detroit, this time for Erik Gustafsson instead of Jake Wallman. And then you also have yourselves the forwards that Friedman talks about, guys who could use a change of scenery because their runway is running short. We already spoke about JT Compher yesterday. Please stay away from the Vancouver Canucks. I don't think he's going to be a needle mover. The guy that Vancouver needs to make the team a much better squad. But Rasmussen, you can definitely say he has a shorter runway now too, just because he's big and he's got that size. I mean, is that enough of a security to keep him on the squad nowadays? I don't know. Jonathan Berggren, he had scored in the previous game against the Islanders, so you can say that maybe there's a little bit of a breathing room that he opened up for himself with that, but still, he hasn't really provided much outside of it. I'd say that's like the big 3 right now: Compher, Berggren, Rasmussen, but hey, there are other names on the Red Wings forward core. If you wanted to go out there and dive into them, hey, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But ultimately, that's what Friedman goes out there and talks about in regards to trades. We're looking at the San Jose Sharks and a D-man, Edmonton and a D-man, Detroit, and a specific D-man in Erik Gustafsson, as well as forwards as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these trade ideas and this trade update. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button is down there for you too. Those comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd really appreciate it if you got involved there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.